This is going to be a bit of a departure from some of the things that I talk about on the Widow's Walk. Maybe it doesn't quite fit, but I wanted to share some thoughts I've had over the last few days. Wednesday night at a Bible study that the pastor presented, he talked about a psalm in which it's mentioned that God delights in us. And I thought to myself, I don't quite know about God delighting in me, but I know he sometimes laughs at me. And there's a couple different reasons why he might laugh at me. So I'm going to talk about that. One is a way in which it's not a really good thing that he laughs at me, except it's corrective. And that is that there was an occasion a number of years ago when I was very conscious as I was praying that I wasn't being totally honest with God in my prayer. And I absolutely thought I heard him laugh and say, "Oh, Ruth, do you seriously think you can hide anything from me? Of course I know what's really going on. Don't try to cover it up." So that has reminded me many times since to be absolutely honest with God when I pray. A second time that I absolutely know he had to have been laughing is the way in which Bill and I met each other and some of the crazy things that happened the first couple of weeks. And I thought, it's as though God said to himself, okay, I've put Ruth together in this certain way with certain personality characteristics. And here we have Bill with his certain personality characteristics. And when these two people come crashing together, it's going to be very interesting. Watch this. I just feel like God must have been chuckling to himself. And I think at the time we even had a sense of that. We were only friends for about 3 weeks before I had to go back to school. And in that 3 weeks, we just intensely explored each other's intellects and personalities, could talk about anything with each other. Now, it's worth mentioning that there was zero physical contact. We never held hands, we never kissed, but we became intense friends. And the last evening, before I was to leave to go back to school, we went out for dinner. And afterward, Bill said to me he said, even when I'm going steady with a girl, I don't write letters. It's just, I'm just not good at it. It's not something I do. So don't expect to hear from me. But if you wanted to write to me, it would be okay. I thought, hey, buddy boy, playing that game. I did not say a word, but in my mind I said, no way am I writing first. If I am not worthy of you pursuing me, nothing's going to happen here. Well, I only waited 2 weeks for a letter. And I wrote back. And when he wrote the next letter, he said, I hope you understand when I tell you I laughed all the way through your letter. Not because I was trying to be funny or anything, but he said he was just delighted in my choice of topics and in the way I expressed myself. And he signed that letter, Rejoicing Chuckles. And I think that's how we felt about the beginning of our relationship, that God had put us together with a great sense of humor and that he intended us for us to laugh in a rejoicing kind of way. I'm pretty sure he was laughing. And there were many things throughout our lifetimes where we laughed, even sometimes in the midst of tragedy. And one of those things happened the night that Bill had the cardiac arrest. The EMTs came, a couple of policemen came. They said first they were going to take him to the local hospital because they couldn't get a pulse. And I knew that meant they would take him there just to pronounce him dead. And I was pretty sure he wasn't going to make it. I had already told my son on the phone, I don't think he's coming back from this. Well, then they got a weak pulse, so they said we're going to helicopter him into Jacksonville. And I was, oh no, I don't know my way around Jacksonville. How will I ever find the hospital? And the younger of the two policemen said, let me put the address in your GPS and you can follow your GPS to get there. Then he said, isn't there someone to go with you? I said, well, my daughter lives here, but I can't get a hold of her. It's the middle of the night. She's probably got the ringer on her phone off. He asked me where she lived, and when I told him, he said, that's on your way to Jacksonville. Go to your daughter's house, knock on her door. Well, that sounded like a good idea. So I got in the car, and I was glad it was nighttime and there was very little traffic because I was pretty rattled and I may not have been the safest driver at that point. But on my way to my daughter's house, I thought, oh, they have a big yard. It's all fenced in. There's a gate out by the road across the driveway. I'm not going to be able to get close to their house to knock on the door. I got there, and sure enough, the gate was locked. I stood there and looked at it. I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I can't just beep the horn. I'm more likely to wake up the neighbors than them. They didn't answer the phone, so it's pointless to keep doing that. So I looked at the gate. It was kind of fence-like, about this high on me. Then there was a gap of maybe about 15, 16 inches, and then a top bar. I thought, I bet I can get through that. So I crawled up on the fence part. Now I'm rocking back and forth on the lower bar. Neither of my feet reached the ground. I finally fell through, landed on the inside, fortunately, turned out my flashlight on my cell phone so I could see to get up the driveway. And while I'm doing that, I'm thinking, hey, my son-in-law is going to come to the door with a gun, which he did. But of course, he saw me and put the gun away. And they went with me to the hospital, both my daughter and son-in-law. So we're sitting there in the, I don't know, it was in the ER in a waiting room where we were. My son-in-law scrolling through the phone. He says, Mom, you know how you crawled through the fence? Yes. You got caught on the security camera. So there's this crazy video of me crawling through the fence. I'm pretty sure God knew I was going to do that. And people, of course, have found that amusing. And one person said to me, when you die, that's what they'll play at your memorial service. Yeah, that and maybe a whole lot of other things I've done in my life have been kind of what the normal person would do. But I'm pretty sure that it hasn't only been other people that have laughed, but that God's had a good chuckle a number of times. So do I think God has laughed at me? Mm-hmm. And I think there's going to be a lot of laughter in heaven too. Looking forward to that.